Hi, my name is Salman Beg. Today we are going to create a standby database to our for our disaster recovery at the disaster recovery site. We have production site having two rack nodes, rack1.localdomain.net and rack2.localdomain.net. We do have a standby cluster which is having drrack 1.localdomain.net and drrack2.localdomain.net. So in order to make the standby database, we have to first log on to our primary node, which is our node 1 as Oracle user. Connected. We have to perform some steps which I pretty much documented here. In order to create a standby database, we have to first copy the password file across to all those four nodes. So in order to do that, we have to first go to our DBS directory, which is located at Oracle Home. And here we have our PW rack 1. So based on that, we are creating our PW rack 2, and it's been created. Then we have to SCP both our PW rack 1 and 2 to the remote node, which is a node primary node 2 rack 2. Okay, so copying files to disaster recovery node 1. Files copied. Now the next step is we have to go and to node 2 and copy the files as well. So log on to node 2 as Oracle user. These are the files which are copied from primary node. So we have to change the name to from rack 1 to dr rack 1, and change the name of rack 2 to dr rack 2. So now we changed the names, which is pretty much okay for now. Now copying those two files from here to node 2, and the file copied, primary database parameters, and make sure that those things are up and running there. So we are now first try to find out those parameters are there. Before doing anything, we can take a backup of the existing parameter file. Its name will be rack backup p file. It's been created. Now we are checking that is either the database is in archive log mode. Yeah, the database is in archive log mode. You have to make the database force logging. we have to create additional groups for standby database, 2 for each thread. So we are creating 2 groups for thread 1 and going to create 2 for thread 2. Okay, we already took this backup. That was actually our very first thing which we have done. After that, we have some parameters which we need to set. We have the parameter which is log archive config, to dgconfig rack and br rack. Destination 1 is our local destination as a recovery area, and it will be rack. Valid for all logs and all roles, all log files and all roles. Second one is Dest2 is actually the second destination, the remote server, and the service is actually the TNS name of that service which is running on the remote site, and this is the DB unique name of that database as well. Done that. So we enable the first one, which is our local archiving. Then we are going to use those 2 parameters, which is db file name convert, db log file name convert. Means whenever you find dr rack, please convert it to rack in the directory structure. And then false server is the server which is at the other end, remote, and the local one is the client. So remote server, remote client. Okay, and now we have to do a bounce back of the database before we are. These changes will take effect only when you are bouncing up the database, so we are doing that. Then start the database. It started. You can check the status. We can see show parameter log. So we have these parameters here which been changed properly, and yeah, it's pretty much seems okay. Next step, we have to amend the listener.aura file. So we cp listener.aura and making a backup as listener.aura dot bak, and that is for for drrec. Okay, so now we have a backup copy. We can vi listener.aura. This is DGMGRL is for our broker. We want to make sure that the broker knows the configuration, that there's an instance for the broker in here. Then this one, and can save and exit. Yep. And same thing, we can here lsnrctl reload listener, and we can ask the status. It should show me it's up and running now. Same thing to node 2. Listener.aura to .aura.bak for drrec. Here we have an entry for rack 2. Save and exit. lsnrctl reload listener. Okay, can check the status. We are going back to our main document, and it's saying that you have to update the listener of your DR site as well. Backup of listener.aura as listener.aura.bak, and this is for drrec. Yes, save and exit, and lsnrctl reload listener. You can see the status as well. BAK for drrec. Now we can check, there's a backup here. Listener.aura. Okay, after this step we have to check our main document, and here we have to make the TNS name files configuration, like entries for rack 1 and rack 2, which we pretty much did. I want to show you that where the changes are. This is rack node 1, Oracle home network admin, and this is our TNS names file. So we made the change same way as it described in the document. The main thing is, like, we are using the VIPs, we are not using the scan IPs. We are using the VIP of both nodes on the port, which is open 1521, and it's pretty much straightforward. The service name, we make sure that in the listener we define the service name for DGMGRL, and the same service name we are using in here for both rack node 1 and 2. So this is our node 1, and pretty much same thing when we go to our node 2, and the node 2 is here, and same thing, Oracle home, network admin, and in here we have the same tnsnames.aura file right here, and having the same entries. We have to make to 4 of them. We checked rack 1 and rack 2. Now we can go and SSH to our other node, to a new session, to dr rack 1. So here we can verify and validate that one to dr rack 1, and going to the home directory, just network and admin, and here we have tnsnames.aura, which is pretty much the same rack node dr rack node 2, and going back to Oracle home, network and admin, and we have the same thing here. It's pretty much the same for all 4. So we done that part up to right here. So now the control file creation will be the next.